Sweetie's Dubai secret just cost her everything by O'Shea Duke.
Blind Adams have been saying this for a while, but now there is a woman on Instagram who is accusing Sweetie of being a yacht girl. And for those of you who don't know what a yacht girl is, it's basically a girl who sells cookies, but she's not a Girl Scout.
You may not have heard of this young lady because I haven't either. Her name is Maybach May. If you look at her Instagram, it doesn't seem like she has a whole lot of stuff popping.
Oh, no. To the untrained eye, it doesn't look like she have anything going on. But if you have a trained eye, what do you see here, y'all? If you said entrepreneur, you would be absolutely right. Anybody who's claiming to be an entrepreneur and they ain't got no business, what exactly are you selling?
She just looks like the average chick with a BBL and a nice body, and nothing else is to be seen there, right? But that's what you think. Just because somebody don't have a whole lot of followers, it don't mean that they're not important in the industry. And according to this chick...
Oh, if you've been in an industry for over 10 years, you're important in some way. People who aren't useful aren't in an industry for over 10 years. So she's useful in some way.
She's more important than we think. Fast forward. Maybach May is one of the largest madams in the industry. And what Maybach May does is she connects a lot of beautiful women to rich men all over the world. She's going to Dubai, Lagos, Europe, wherever you think that the rich guys are at, she has them in her system.
Of course.
And a lot of girls want to deal with Maybach May because she's the connection to all the guys with the money.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you think about these types of industries, you often just think of like an evil guy at the top that's just a bad man that's taking advantage of women. But people usually overlook the amount of women that play a role in these types of rinks or human trafficking or any of these types of things, prostitution. People forget that a lot of the people who are the recruiters, a lot of the people who arrange a lot of the stuff that goes on outside of the pimp that might be at the top, it's usually women that are around. And it's because these types of men know that women trust other women. So if you need somebody to convince them to keep going, you use a woman. The recruiter is always a woman. Look at Jeffrey Epstein and the Ghislaine Maxwell situation. I know a lot of the guys in these industries get harsher punishments, but it's usually women that are doing the organizing, the recruiting, all those types of things. It's usually women.
And one of those ladies allegedly is Saweetie. Now, if you look at Saweetie's Instagram following, she got 12.4 million followers. Why would Saweetie be working with a lady that got 25,000 followers? Well, here's a story. Fast forward. Maybach May had a connection with a guy by the name of Jadon Sancho. Now, he plays in the Premier European League. I think it's Manchester United. I'm not necessarily sure. But the guy makes a lot of money, like over $180,000 per week.
Damn.
And this dude is known for tricking on women. Like, he is known for spending a whole lot of money.
Yeah, of course, the dude's 25 years old and he's never had to really work hard for anything. What else would you do other than just sleep with every woman that you want if you had that much money at that age?
So basically what Maybach May did was say, listen, Saweetie, I got this dude and he's a younger guy. He's like 21. And you know, Saweetie is closer to being like 30. So look, this young dude, if you deal with him, he'll spend money on you, but here's what you got to do. You got to pay me my money and, you know, whatever else you get from him, you can keep. But as long as I get my cut, I'm cool.
And that's usually what happens. You'll get these younger guys who have less life experience. They think that their money can buy them the world. And then you get these more older women who have been in the game for a while. They've been around these types of guys, so they know exactly what they want and how to lure them in. And because the younger guys lack experience, these older women just lure them in. And these younger guys just speed run into spending all of their money. It's crazy. They just speed run bankruptcy. That's what they do. They make all this money. Adrian Peterson, throughout his career, and I'm not saying he was spending it on this, but he made $100 million in his career and ended up broke. Like 76% of the people who leave the NFL are broke 5 years after leaving the league. I think that number is like 62% for NBA players or something like that. And so it's funny because a lot of times people put these types of women in the box of just being a victim, but usually the people that they're taking advantage of are significantly younger than them. And if the roles were reversed, people would look at it a totally different way.
He's right, you know.
And here's a text messages even explaining that. Here it says, what you doing? We should do a big bear trip with good friends, group, co-ed. Oh my God, it's so nice here. And even that code is 2 hours from LA. At the studio, girl, all my friends out of state. When bees run it up on Jadon, how much they doing in a weekend?
Oh no.
Now, this is evidence, right? Fast Fast forward. But here's what Saweetie did. She fell in love with Jadon, or got Jadon to fall in love with her. And so she ended up in a full relationship with Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon Sancho ended up getting, a tattoo of her, I think like on his neck or something like that. And basically they got into a full blown relationship and basically cut off Maybach May. And so this is the problem at Bay. Maybach May is saying, listen, you owe me money and you was out here dealing with the dude that I set you up with, and now you don't want to pay me? Let's go back to that first text message. She goes, Sancho, after you done paying and getting tattoos of a 304, you barely know. Run me my money. She hates her career, so you come right on time like the trick you are. I just want what y'all owe me. So obviously Jadon didn't pay her, and Saweetie must have told him not to pay. Now, what else? Cocaine, witchcraft, and liquor is one hell of a mix. Yep. Send me my bread home, wrecker.
And that's the least surprising part, the fact that she's a drug addict. That's usually what happens. These people are drug addicts. They make a little money in the industry. They go out and they buy cars. And I'm like, okay, a car is a 5-year commitment unless you pay it cash. And anybody who knows anything about money will tell you that it's dumb to pay it cash. So they're probably getting these cars on a loan. They're buying houses on loans. And it's based off of how much they made when they were their most successful. And it's like when you get a mortgage, that's a 30-year commitment. Are you going to be making the same amount of money for 30 years? If not, then you can't afford this house. But that's not how they think. They go on these luxury vacations, especially when you're a rapper. Part of being a rapper, unfortunately, is trying to keep up with a certain image. I think that that's the worst part of it. To be a good rapper, you have to look like you have prosperity. So you just be out here spending money. And so now, you stuck in a situation where you're not making as much money as you used to. You got all these mortgages. You got these car loans. And what do you do when you ain't making that money no more? You start selling Girl Scout cookies.
Woo! Now, before I get into the rest of the screenshots, I kind of want to get into what Saweetie is kind of known for.
Saweetie is allegedly a yacht girl who makes far more money from yachting than she does from her music career. And according to this blind item, she allegedly has a substance abuse problem that is making her messy and causing her to lose yachting clients.
She's a drug addict.
And the blind item reads, this A-list Nepo baby, who's a rapper, singer, niece, cousin, and granddaughter of famous names, earns way more from yachting each week than from her actual music. But her substance habit has gotten out of control, and the messiness is driving clients away fast.
So Saweetie is known for being a yacht girl. So this is the girl who doesn't really advertise that they're selling cheeks, but they are selling cheeks. And again, this young lady already mentioned that Saweetie has a drug problem. And this other lady here is saying that, hey, Saweetie is out here clapping cheeks, and a lot of clients are tired of her and her drug issues.
Bro, that's crazy. Just think about this. You've already ruined your... Just think about this. You've already ruined your image by choosing to be a prostitute. But not only are you ruining your regular image, you're ruining your prostitute image. Even people who just want to sleep with women don't even want to deal with you because you're that much of a headache and you're doing drugs. You're just speed running, ruining your life. You're speed running a hard life.
She's not the only person to mention this sort of freestyling idea.
You need to build your brand up so that you're not known as a 304, because what men really like, they like freestylers better, okay? They don't want a girl to be posting ads online and stuff. No, they want to feel like they just stumbled across a beautiful woman, and for this price, they could have access.
So, this lady has a good point. Like, people don't want you to be advertising your cheeks out there, but they want to know that you're down with the get down. And it gets even worse.
I'm not saying that her music is a cover-up. No, it's not a cover-up. She's an entertainer that goes along with it. So like a child actor grows up, then they're known for being a 304 all of a sudden, but not to regular people. As far as you guys know, they're just a singer, a dancer, an actor, a YouTuber, anything, an influencer. A lot of high-end 304s are actually influencers.
No, a lot of influencers are actually high-end 304s. I think that is the difference. I think you are what you make the most money from. So because I make my money, I'm a YouTuber. If a skateboarder makes his money skating, then he's a professional skateboarder. If a person makes their money through prostitution, then they are a prostitute. It seems like social media is just a marketing tool at this point.
And that's what builds your brand better. Why do you think I'm in so many people's YouTube videos? I'm on podcasts like Fresh and Fit. I'm in 20v1s with Kodak. It's all because it builds your persona, it builds your brand. So this way, when I say, hey, I want X amount, it makes sense because I'm an entertainer, I'm a celebrity.
Now she's breaking down the whole playbook for influencers. If you look at somebody like Saweetie,
it's crazy.
She's always on like 20 versus 1 shows. She's always on like podcasts, The Fresh and Fit. Like she moves around, and you don't really see a whole lot of the better rappers doing that, like Cardi B. And to be honest, Cardi B, you know, did mention that Saweetie was doing stuff like this. Remember that Saweetie was with Quavo, and then Saweetie ended up sleeping with Offset, which caused some tension between the whole Migos crew and all of that. Like, I mean, Saweetie just is down bad for real. Like, just down bad as hell. But check this out.
I have said it before, and I get crucified for it. People get so mad every single time I bring it up. But your favorite musicians are not very wealthy. Like, there's no money to be made in the music industry. A lot of them are broke. Some of the influencers on this app make more money than your favorite musicians. And the reason why, it's not just because, I think especially this applies especially like in hip hop, it's not just because they don't get paid that much. It's also because they get paid a decent amount. It's because their lifestyle is extremely expensive. Like,
you got to keep up with what it looks like to be a rapper or to be a famous person, and they don't know shit about taxes. So you get this big old check from a record deal that you actually have to pay back because it's usually a loan. They're paying you money so that you can create your album, so it's usually a loan that you have to pay back. You get this big lump sum amount of money that you got to pay taxes on. So you get $1 million check not knowing that 400,000 of that has to go to taxes. And you just spending money, not really thinking about the long haul, buying houses, buying clothes, buying jewelry, and next thing you know, you owe the government $400,000 at the end of the year.
If you are in hip hop, part of being in hip hop is that you have to look rich, you have to pretend to be ultra wealthy, and living outside of your means is very expensive. It's not just like having a fancy house and owning cars, right? It's also like having a glam team all the time, having an agent, having a manager, having a social media person. All of that is very, very expensive. In your mind, you thought Saweetie was affording all that off of her music career when she's been in the game 10 years and has still not put out a debut album?
Dang.
Now, this young lady mentioned something similar about your favorite influencers being broke. Now, for me, I'm looking at 12.4 million followers. I'm like, damn, you know, she must be doing good. But if you look at her lifestyle, she got to keep up that image, right?
But that's what I'm saying. Can you call her a rapper if she hasn't even put out a debut album and she's been in the game for 10 years? Or is she just now a prostitute? If that's how you're making your money, we just got to call a spade a spade.
Like, that's how she got popular. Now, this is something that's interesting because somebody like me, as a YouTuber or a down bad influencer, like I got, you know, popular because of my commentary. Nobody follows me because I need to be extravagant or opulent or fashion based. And this is why a lot of YouTubers end up having more money than influencers, because people tend to watch us for us, and we don't have a pressure of trying to be, you know, flashy or living a big lifestyle. That's the same thing with athletes. They don't have to actually live a rich lifestyle to be rich. Like Kawhi Leonard is a good example of that. But if you come in the game and you're a hot chick like Saweetie, you have a lifestyle, and if the money isn't coming in because the music industry doesn't pay it, you got to get that money somehow. All right.
You have a lifestyle, but you also have a short career. That's the thing about making your money or becoming popular because of how you look. Sure, you're going to rise really quickly, but you're also going to fall very quickly because there's always a pretty face. And if you don't have any talent behind that pretty face, well, then you're just gonna go away. And that's pretty much how the career goes. You get popular for being pretty. You might have 1 or 2 songs that's pushed out into the mainstream forcefully, damn near, so they get kind of popular. You make a little money at first, but then you start going broke. Then you start doing reality TV, and the end of the line is either doing some form of prostitution or finding a rich boyfriend that's gonna foot the bill for you.
Also, she's never had a debut album, so you're not making money from music. So what are you making money from?
Exactly.
But wait, there's more.
If you are ever trying to pocket watch your favorite celebrity and their musician specifically, right, you're trying to figure out if they're broke or not, all you have to do is check to see their endorsement deals, right? The more endorsement deals they have, the more paid they are. If you have a favorite celebrity, I'm not going to say no names, there's one in particular I'm thinking of, and they haven't had an endorsement deal in years, they're probably broke. And I'm going to leave that at that. Unless they own businesses and companies that are kept on the hush, 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 they're probably broke.
So this is
yeah, she had like a McDonald's deal at one point, right? She had like a McDonald's meal or something.
Important distinction. Again, like if you look at somebody and the brand deals that they have, this would indicate how much money they actually make. Now, this is something that we saw with Will Smith. Once Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, he lost a lot of brand deals. Okay. And so this hurt him financially. Now, you already know his lifestyle is really up there. It's expensive. But to lose brand deals, which, I mean, again, I would assume that Saweetie has a lot of brand deals, or maybe she doesn't. But if you don't have those brand deals, and those brand deals pay a lot of money, it's kind of how you make cash in the industry. And so if you somehow lose that, you lose it all.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is kind of what's happening with Saweetie. She doesn't really have brand deals. Okay. So if you don't have brand deals, you're not a podcaster, you're not really working a lot. You got to make that money, because this industry for music is not really there. And, YouTubing is there, but YouTubing is hard. People can say, well, why don't you start a podcast? A lot of people have podcasts. It's still hard. It's not easy, doing this work every day. So, the quickest way to do that is, I mean, if you were going to sleep with somebody anyway, it was to go ahead on and basically pay to get the cheeks clapped. And it goes back to what the manosphere guys have always taught, that certain ladies are always for sale. It doesn't matter. Like, a lot of girls, you know what? Let me just say this. Fast forward. I know so many ladies who are IG influencers, especially in this part of the world. And again, they're like yacht girls.
A lot of them are catfish. I remember I used to play for the USA rugby team. I used to live out in Chula Vista, California. It's very close to San Diego. And a lot of these people, you would see them online because of the filters and the makeup and the perfect lighting and the perfect angles, all those things. They look totally different than when you see them in person. First of all, face surgery, anything on your face, it all looks crazy in person. It might look good under the filters and on the Instagram pictures, but when you see that stuff in person, it looks insane. But also because of the angles that they do, their bodies don't look similar. A lot of them are just catfishes. Like, I remember even in California, in San Diego, there was a studio where you could go in to make it look like you were on a jet. It was like a fake jet studio setup, and you would see people or influencers in that area trying to take pictures to make it seem like they were on private jets. And anybody who's from the area or knew anything about that studio knew exactly where those pictures were being taken. I just thought that was kind of funny.
They out here, living it up. They may have a few brand deals, but trust me, like, they can barely pay their rent. They can barely pay for electricity. I mean, like, they need hair, they need makeup. They constantly have to live in that lifestyle, going to dinner, going to 4 Points. I mean, that might be going to dinner, going to hotels, things like that. It costs money to keep playing like that, being out. And, when you popping bottles, you buying Don Julio in the club, somebody got to pay for that. And somebody got to pay for their food every day. I mean, you get chicks that look so good and they're begging for KFC, like literally begging for KFC. You would never think that a chick that has a big following on TikTok or Instagram is that broke, but so many chicks don't really have money like that.
Yep.
And this is why, like, dudes who are consistent and they may have a good business, you would have a shot. Like, literally, if you were willing to pay, you would have a shot at these cheeks.
No,
I'm just being real.
Okay.
You would be able to go head on and get that clapping off. You might not think so, but oh yes, it happens.
Yeah, so when you see all those pictures of those women on those yachts, just understand everything has an exchange. They're not on those yachts for no reason. And if they are on those yachts for no reason, they're not going to last very long. All these ladies that act like they have this expensive lifestyle on social media, they're on the yachts. Sometimes it's yachting. They're in Dubai. We know what people do in Dubai when it comes to making money on social media. And so you got to look through a lot of that stuff. If they're acting like they're not giving anything to be in those environments, they're liars. Somebody paid for that boat and they want compensation. No man who's smart enough to build a business or smart enough to own a boat is going to be putting money into a vending machine that don't give nothing in return. Yeah, so a lot of those ladies in those environments is putting out, and that's just something you got to look for. And what's even more important to me is that young ladies see this stuff and realize that all attention ain't good attention. All money ain't good money. And if you're not willing to do the type of stuff that these types of women are willing to do in order to get the attention that they get, then maybe that lifestyle ain't for you, because this is what comes with it. Let me know in the comments below if this video is a W or L, and give me the HBO special. That's our brother out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.